Good evening, good evening. What's up, Fair Trade Cafe? What's going on? Happy Wednesday. Awesome. If you can see, I'm awkwardly holding my hands down here because we can't touch the mic tonight. Our mic stand is sensitive, just like me. So just be careful. If you are coming up here to tell a story, please leave the mic on the stand. I know it might be weird to just do things with your hands and not hold the mic. Or if you're Italian, you've got that down. I don't know. Anyway, I'm Jessie. I'm the host of the show. This is Chatterbox. We're a weekly storytelling open mic. We do this every week. If you're here just hanging out and studying, you're welcome. It's a lot of fun, and it's free entertainment. So just a couple of guidelines first before we get started. Story should be about 6 to 8 minutes long if you are here telling. Tonight we have our podcast recording, Chatterpod. Put your hands together for Jared over here. Yeah. And put your hands together for Fair Trade Cafe for letting us have this space. Tip your baristas. That's always nice. They make good stuff. Other than that, we're here to have a good time and share some stories. Tonight's theme is empowerment. And hopefully we're all feeling empowered about something, or maybe you came here to feel empowered. And we will hopefully do that for you tonight. So you'll meet my co-host here in a bit. I'm going to bring our first storyteller up, though. Put your hands together for a regular to this stage, Maryanne.
There. I've never worked with a mic stand before. This is really weird. I'm Maryanne, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm a parent, a grandparent, a retired entrepreneur, and a very proud transgender woman. Thank you. That spent 60 years of my life hiding, and then finally decided a while back that this was going to be me, or I was going to die, not ever living my truth and myself. So, and I love coming down here because I meet so many interesting people. So any of you that don't know me, you might find me a little interesting. Boy, this really got me. The reason I came down here tonight is simply because of the word empowerment. And if you look up empowerment on the Audible Dictionary on Google, it goes on for 15 minutes. And all of the different things that empowerment do, and it really starts you thinking back about your life and what it was. So if none of you have done the Audible, I was going to actually play it for you, but I thought I'd pick just a few favorite phrases out to really get you thinking about how empowerment is our lives and what we do to get through it or to it. So my biggest question about empowerment, before I go through some of the definitions, is empowerment earned? Is it something you're given like a gift? So, do you get to empowerment by yourself or with others? So, empowerment really can be controlling. It can be gaining authority, being stronger, gaining confidence, increasing your responsibility, and getting independence through strength. So, strength can be physical, or it can be mental. Some people think that financial independence is empowerment. And I found that years ago through successful businesses, which was my way of hiding who I was, but that never really gave me the empowerment to be myself. I had stuff, and it was very successful. In fact, I retired when I was 46. But still didn't tell me who I was. So I wasn't quite empowered at that particular time. Empowerment can also overcome social discriminations from race, ethnicity, sexual identity, feminism, masculinity, or even gender. empowerment has to have some conditions that get you there. I've often believed that if someone just comes to you and gives you empowerment, you don't appreciate it or it doesn't last. It's something that you have to learn and sometimes earn to where you're comfortable with that empowerment. I gave an employee one time that had never managed anything before a management position in our company. That person couldn't handle it. And I learned at that time that you can't just give something like that away. What you can give away without earning it is love. In my life growing up, I had a very abusive father. Not so much physically, but mentally and verbally. You couldn't do one thing without a condition, no matter what it was, and then it wasn't good enough. He put a price on love. And he never learned that because I learned after he passed away from relatives I didn't know that he didn't have anything like unconditional love in his family. So not knowing what to do, he just carried that on. Fortunately, I had a grandfather that all you had to do was show up and you got love. He didn't ask you to weed his garden or to help him at his gas station on weekends, but you wanted to do it because he got that grandfather, I love you smile, and then he'd take you out to breakfast with his friends and say, this is my grandkid. That's all you had to do. But empowerment, in my mind, and someone might disagree with me, I think has to be earned for yourself. Self-empowerment, you'll never get there unless you go through it and go through the things that you have to get there. And then you have to maintain it too, because a lot of people try and take that away from you. I was going to tell a story tonight about myself and how I got to the point where I was going to be empowered to become me. And it hit me. I was going to die without being empowered and getting things done. And that, at reaching the age of 60, that's what I realized. And I sat down with my spouse, and of course we knew about my gender issues, but we never knew what we were going to do about it. And finally said, this is what I have to do. I have to do this. And she said, then you're going to do it right. You're going to take the time to learn to be the woman that you always thought you were, but you hid. Growing a beard, you can hide behind for several years. So I had to learn these things. 2 years of makeup lessons. Because trust me, cover girl does not cover boy at all. And then I had to lose a lot of weight. Like I'm 5'7", well, I used to be. And I weighed almost 255 pounds. And I had to get healthy. So these are the things that I had to go through to be me. But the story for me that's most important tonight is a friend of mine named Catherine. And last time I was here, I brought Catherine and her caretaker here to experience this. And they thought, okay, we'll stay for a few minutes. They stayed, like me, till everybody was gone. And Catherine was just amazed. I met Catherine 6 years ago. I did a comedy. I also do stand-up, by the way. I did a comedy benefit for her and her Hope for Trauma Foundation. Because you see, about 7 years ago, Catherine and her girlfriend went up into the hills near Pine Top and went into a restaurant. And Catherine used to be a little mouthy, and she was probably giving her partner a little bit more affection in a restaurant than some of the patrons there liked. In fact, 2 of them came over to where Catherine and her girlfriend were sitting and told them that they probably should leave town now. And knowing Catherine, she either said, bite me or F you, and went on doing what they were doing. As she and her partner walked out to their car, they were attacked from the back with baseball bats. Their heads were bashed in. Their arms were broken. Catherine was in the hospital for 6 months with brain trauma. Her partner at the time is still paralyzed from the waist down. After 6 months of rehabilitation, Catherine finally got out where she could walk and talk again and drive. Within 2 months, she got hit by a drunken driver head-on here in Phoenix and was back in the hospital again for 6 months and had to learn to walk and talk all over again. This young lady came out of that not knowing how to get through life, but she read a story about a young man up in Colorado that had suffered brain trauma and head injury from car accident, and he had one of these incumbent bikes, the nice ones, they're like $5,000. And he found out about Catherine and invited her up to Colorado to learn how to ride. And through some help and some donations, she started riding the bike. 5 years ago, Catherine and this young man rode their bikes from Anacortes, Washington, which is on the northwestern tip of Washington, to Key West, Florida. 5,400 miles for 3.5 months to bring attention to brain trauma. Support vehicles along the way, people trading off, but they did it. And after that is when I met Catherine. So her story and her empowerment to get through life, like so many of us here, are the empowerment that I get back to keep going. So Catherine is now having problems again with reoccurring brain absence, things that are happening. So she's my strength, along with a few other people in my life, that give me empowerment to continue through my life of being who I am. So think about it, and then also think about my favorite thing is unconditional love. There should never be a condition on love. So lots of conditions on empowerment. So that's it. If you were stand up, someone would say, "That's my time." Thank you all for coming.
Keep it going for Maryanne. Earlier tonight, we were talking about what makes this show so wonderful and special. And Maryanne's one of those people that perfectly embodies some of the values that we have at our show of being open, honest, and transparent. It's always wonderful to have her here. So one more time, please. Thank you. I'm also Estevan Pina. I'm your co-host of Chatterbox. Tonight is a very special night for all of us here at Chatterbox and with the community. We get to share a little bit about ourselves, and also, first time we don't get to hold the mic. So I'm up here trying to figure out what to do with my hands. So I'll get used to it eventually. But I just wanted to come up here, introduce myself, also help introduce the next storyteller, who is another person who helps empower us all by sharing her story here and gracing us with her presence. And she's a very wonderful friend and a very motivating person to follow online in her journey as well. Please help me welcome Nicole.
Jazz hands. That's what you do. So tonight, I wasn't prepared. I came here specifically tonight because I wanted to support you guys and with your news and the news of being in the news and all of that. And I ran into a very special friend, Maryanne, who I haven't seen in quite some time. It's been since the Grand, where we used to coalesce to tell stories. But tonight, I'm going to talk about empowerment. I came here because I needed some empowerment. I feel very disempowered lately, but in thinking about the topic, I came up with my scooter, which some of you know I'm like a scooter nut. And since obtaining my scooters, I ride them every day. And if I don't do it every day, I feel really not good about myself. And why is